MMA Rants and Raves, Werdum versus Lewis in the UFC's heavyweight division. Guys, let's talk about this fight. You know, some guys in Lewis's last fight, it just seemed that he was so demoralized with the loss that I heard he was talking about retirement and now he's coming back. And you know how it is with athletes when they retire and they come back. You don't see a lot of success. I'm talking about in all of sports. Now, his last fight was very tough. I mean, he actually called out Mark Hunt. I thought that was a mistake. Mark Hunt is a guy stylistically that's not a good fight for Lewis because of the fact that he likes to stand and trade. And he also faced Hunt in his hometown, so it probably was easy for him to prepare. And I mean, it just wasn't a good fight for him at that particular time. I mean, he looked okay. The problem is that with Lewis is his conditioning. And his conditioning has gotten better, but you know, when you're getting hit by a guy that hits as hard as Mark Hunt, it doesn't help your conditioning. So, I mean, that's what was happening. And you saw Lewis try to take Hunt down. He wasn't successful, and that's an important factor here. Now, of course, you can't do MMA math. You know, Werdum beat Hunt. So you can't say, oh, well, you know, Hunt beat Lewis, so therefore you got to pick Werdum. You can't look at it that way, obviously. Especially in the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division is probably the most unpredictable division in MMA because of the fact that these guys are not as technical as the low weight classes and they hit much harder. So fights can end very quickly and they end much quicker in all the other weight classes. And that's another reason why you see far less title reigns in the heavyweight division. There hasn't been a very long reigning heavyweight champion besides Fedor, who did it for 10 years, but you know, Fedor is Fedor. But it's unlikely that's ever going to happen again. Heavyweights just hit too hard, and they're just not as technical as you see in the lighter weight classes. As far as Derrick Lewis is concerned, I mean, he has to find some way to get on top of Werdum, because I think that's the only way he's going to win. And I can't believe I'm saying that, because who even wants to go to the ground with Werdum, right? It's the most dangerous thing you can do. But I think Lewis's strongest fighting skills when he gets on top of guys. I think he's finished all of his opponents when he was able to get mount, because he has such heavy top pressure and he has vicious ground and pound. I don't even think Werdum wants a guy like that on top of him. Even though Verdum's guard is incredibly good, he may have the best guard as a heavyweight in the UFC. He doesn't mind guys getting on top. He even tells them, you know, when he's on the ground, come down. Like, it's unbelievable. Who would do that as a heavyweight? It's crazy. But he does it because he's so confident, and he should be, because his jiu-jitsu is the best as a heavyweight, or maybe in all in MMA. In the history of MMA, I mean, the guy, his jiu-jitsu is as good as it's going to get. So, I mean, even with that being said, I think that is the way Lewis can win this, because you could just see when he gets on top, it's like a building on top of his opponent. He keeps the position, he keeps his mount, he stays on top, he's very hard to get off of you, and he's got such nasty ground pound. I mean, even for a guy like Werdum, to get on a submission or something and defend himself is going to be very tough. But other than that, I mean, this is Werdum's fight to win. I mean, technically, you know, Lewis doesn't have much standing up. He's not fast enough. He doesn't have the technique to deal with Werdum's diverse striking ability. And as you saw when he faced Hunt, his wrestling is just not that good. I mean, he doesn't do well with his wrestling. He doesn't have much technique. And I remember when he faced this Russian fighter who was winning against him, he got him down because he was really tired. That's why I haven't seen him get takedowns against guys that are good wrestlers. You know, he ends up going to the ground with guys when they try to take him down, and he can reverse, he explodes, gets top position, and that's how he can win. This is going to be a very, very tough task. I mean, he just faced Mark Hunt, and now he has to face Werdum, who's a higher level fighter overall. So he's kind of being thrown to the wolves in this fight, because Werdum, although he's been on a decline, his last fight he looked a lot better. I mean, I think he actually won that fight. It was very close. Overeem was in serious trouble. I mean, if he would have kept that fight standing, he would have won. But keep in mind, it's an instinct. You know, Werdum is so good on the ground, I guess it's his instinct to take it down. Maybe he figured he would be able to finish it with a submission. And of course, you know, if that was a championship type of fight, next would have been around 4 and 5, and it's likely Werdum would have won, even with the break he could have gotten in between. I think Overeem was exhausted, and I think that Werdum's conditioning really was impressive. I mean, he started to come strong later in the fight, and that's what champions do, and that's why he was a champion. So I'm going to go to prediction here. I got Werdum to win this fight. I'd like to know what you think about the fight. Please leave your comments, please subscribe, please like this video, and thank you for tuning in.